Are you thinking about moving to Mexico but feeling totally overwhelmed by the residency process? The rules keep changing and there isn't much credible information online. Whether you're retiring, relocating with your family, or investing, understanding the residency process is crucial in 2025. I'm Megan, your host today and co-founder of Yucatan Real Estate Group. I am a Mexican permanent resident, and let's just say it was a process. I initially started with seeking temporary residency through marriage to a Mexican citizen, my husband David, and was completely overwhelmed with lack of accurate information and legal support. When David and I found out we were pregnant, I ended up getting great advice from the Canadian consulate in Playa del Carmen. They recommended I wait until after our baby was born because having a child born in Mexico made me eligible for permanent residency right away instead of going through the temporary track. Once I made that switch, everything changed. I started working with an amazing immigration attorney here in Merida named Hector Medina, and within just a few months, my whole experience changed towards the residency process. Today, I'm sitting down with Hector, an experienced immigration attorney and the founder of New Roots Immigration Law. He has not only helped me, but some of our real estate clients as well, and he's answering some common questions to help you save time, money, and headaches, from requirements and timelines to different residency options and best steps to take. Let's get into it. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Hector.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So can you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your work as an immigration attorney here in Merida?
Totally. So, about myself. I'm Hector Medina, born here in Mexico. All of my family is from Merida. And in regards law, the beautiful thing about law is that it has a lot of opportunities. In my case, I had the blessing to be introduced to the field thanks to a teacher of mine that led me to a law firm where I met the immigration side of law. And ever since, I fell in love with the subject. It gives me the opportunity to get to know people from all over the world and from every walk of life. In my case, with my job, my main goal is to be a bridge between one's destination. With my job, what I do is to help you understand what is it that you're going to be facing when applying to the residency, starting with you getting to understand what are the options you have available, then continuing guiding you through every step. So eventually the path can be easier, secure, and you achieve your successful goal. Something that I also enjoy from my job is that, as you can see from these beautiful pictures and the logos from the brands, I like the idea that I help people to land safely here in Mexico. And many of them are looking to relocate, to move to a different place, start a new chapter where they have the opportunity to spread new seeds and watch new roots grow. So see, that's my goal and my work as an immigration lawyer.
Amazing, amazing. And I know firsthand how great it is to work with you because I got my permanent residency with you and it was a great experience. So let's get into the questions. So the first question that I think is very important for many people is, what is the first step people should consider when they're starting the residency process here in Mexico?
The first step and the most important part of this journey is to be prepared, to have a plan. Some people come to Mexico and then start looking for a plan and the guidance. And here, when that thing happens, frustration can join the chat. So instead of leading into that scenario, before you take any decisions, before you come to Mexico, before you start doing everything else, reach out to a specialist. That's the best recommendation.
Yeah.
The reason why is that information overload, it's very common. One can log into any website, start looking after information, join community chats, friends, and they tell me, I heard. And with all of that information, you get overwhelmed.
Definitely.
You get overwhelmed, you just stay put and you freeze because a lot of information can lose you more from where you started. Mm-hmm. By reaching out to a specialist like myself, as I mentioned before, my goal with you is to sit together, see what's your story, what's your profile, what opportunities do you have to apply for the residency. Mm-hmm. And before taking the next step, making sure that you are aware of what you need, what steps you're going to be taking, what difficulties may arise, and in general, letting you know what's the path that you are going to be taking.
Yes.
So then your path will consist following the steps until you arrive to your final destination, that is the residency.
Yeah, amazing. I fully agree. It's so important because if, I've seen firsthand on Facebook groups, on forums, online, there is so much information. People are asking questions and people are answering with all different types of questions. And the most important thing is that's where people get overwhelmed. And so it's so important talking to someone that actually understands the process, understands the immigration process, is bilingual, and can fully help you throughout the entire journey, just like yourself.
See, and you know what? Adding to this specific subject, yes, reach out to a specialist. But additionally to that, I invite you to reach out to a specialist located in the place where you are going to apply.
Yes.
For example, I am located in Merida, Yucatan, just as we are at this moment. And I know how the game or the immigration offices works here. And I say it like that because even outside of Mexico, every consulate can work differently. Here in Mexico, every immigration offices can work differently. In the Facebook groups, for example, everyone is speaking from their point of view. So from their point of view, they are right. It could have been hard. It could have been very easy. But you will only know what you will fully expect in Merida, Yucatan.
Right.
If you talk to an immigration specialist from Merida, Yucatan.
Yeah.
That's another layer I will add into this situation.
Yeah, very important. Very important.
Very important.
Yes. All right. So let's move on to the next question. So what is the difference between temporary residency and permanent residency?
That's a great question. And many people, when looking for the residency, they directly mention, I want to look after the permanent residency. And that's great. That's great. I understand. In some cases, not everyone can apply directly from the start to the permanent residency.
Right.
But here, the similarity between one and the other is that it's a resident status.
Right.
As a resident, you can come to Mexico, stay here for the time one wishes, and have that special benefit. A temporal resident, the main thing that they have to do is to renew their residency until after 4 years of becoming a resident, you can apply to the permanent residency.
Right.
That's especially the main difference that some people can worry about of, I will need to come back. Yes. A permanent resident, just as the name states, it's a one-time visit to the immigration offices, and that will do. Only underage children, they have to renew their permanent residency every 4 years.
Yes.
Note.
Good to know.
But other than that, the main difference is that. Additionally, if one has the wish to work in Mexico for a Mexican company or provide their services for Mexican people or Mexican companies and are interested in a work permit to be able to work, a temporary resident needs to do an additional process at the INM to achieve it. It has an additional cost. It's quite simple, but you have to do that extra step.
Yeah.
A permanent resident do not have to request a work permit.
Got it.
They have it implied within the residency, but they do have to notify the INM that they are going to start working. It doesn't have a cost, but it's a slight extra step.
Yeah.
In this scenario of the work permit, a temporary residency, they get issued a new residency card that states below permiso para trabajar, which is work permit, and a permanent resident, it just has it. That's the main difference between one and the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is really good information. The reason why I think that's such an important question is even for me, when I started my process, there were differences of how even I could apply, whether it was through temporary residency, married to a Mexican citizen, which is my husband, David, which you guys know already, or permanent residency through my daughter. And that was information that I received only once I was in the process and got great help from you. And so it's really important to understand the differences and know which ones you are able to apply for in your situation. Okay. So awesome. Moving on to the next question. So what are some common documents people need when applying for residency?
Done. In regards to documentation, once again, it depends on what is the option you are choosing
Of course.
to apply for the residency.
Definitely.
Everything starts from there. But in general, some documents that you could be of use for this application are the proof of economic solvency, if you choose that option, passport, valid passport, very important, a marriage certificate, and birth certificate. For these last two, if the certificates are not from Mexico and are, for example, from Canada or from the States, it's very important to know that those must be apostilled. What is the apostille? Very important. It's an additional certification that a foreign document, like a birth certificate from Canada, gets issued in the country it was issued. For example, a birth certificate from Canada needs to get apostilled, usually in Canada. You do have the possibility to do it here in Mexico, but many countries do not give you that chance.
Right.
It has to be done in the country where it was issued. It consists in a piece of paper that it's clipped or pasted in the back of the document, and only with the apostille, the document can be of use in Mexico. As a certification, it grants the international validation to be of use, in our case, in Mexico. If it's not apostilled, then it's not of use. Even if you try, ask, or say please and thank you, it won't do. So that's very important.
It is, yeah.
And also, those need to get translated. Birth certificate, marriage certificate. That needs to be done in Mexico from a certified translator. Some people do it back in Canada or back in the States. And my recommendation is to get it done in Mexico, just in case. Those are the documents that you could be of use. Passport, very important. Proof of economic solvency, the marriage certificate, birth certificate. Especially those two, even if you're not applying for an application through family union, like you did yourself, for example, as a resident and as someone that is considering purchasing a property, getting married, registering a child that may be born here in Mexico, those are a must bring with you. Just in case, if you're planning to relocate into Mexico, have those with you. Those are the best documents to have, just in case. Marriage certificate, birth certificate, apostilled. And that will do.
Perfect.
Yes.
I'm really glad that you emphasize the importance of those two documents, because even through my own experience, it took time, right? From Canada, I was, and doing it from Mexico, having to get my birth certificate, our marriage certificate apostolized and then translated. It's a process. So it's very important that you give yourself time to do these things and ensure you do it in advance, especially knowing that you'll need it for other processes here in Mexico living. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, especially if you were, and we've had clients that actually, that went through this situation where they actually needed it for the real estate process and they were born outside of Canada, the US. They immigrated to the US or Canada and they were born in another country and they hadn't lived there for 15, 20 years. And that was even harder for them to get an apostolized birth certificate. So please be mindful of these two very important processes and documents to ensure that you save time as well as you save some headaches, because it definitely was a process.
It is. See, and you know what? It's not a document, what I'm going to say, but something to be mindful of is that for mostly every process here in Mexico, any administrative procedure, being a residency, purchasing real estate, it can take some time. So the best thing to have in your bag and in yourself, it's patience. Yes. Patience will be key. And join that with your best friend, that it's being gentle with yourself. Being gentle with yourself. And what I mean by that, it's recognizing and acknowledging that you're doing your part. Yeah. You're doing your part and you need to allow everything else to fall into place. Yeah. Some people can rush or feel like they're not doing it enough, or what else do I need to do? What can I do? And it's, you literally have just done what you needed to do. Yeah. Take a seat. Yeah. Take a seat. Let things unfold in front of you. And in many cases, it's just letting time go by after you have taken the step you needed to take. Yeah. That's also very important because it allows you to maybe not necessarily enjoy the journey, but being okay with the moment where you're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I remember that was something you reminded me through my process of definitely learned patience throughout that process for sure.
It took some time.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next question. So, what is the benefit of becoming a resident instead of just a tourist or staying on a tourist visa?
This one depends on what's your goal. Here, I will ask you, what are your intentions in Mexico? If you tell me, you know what, I'm actually just going to be there for some time and visit Cancun, Merida, Yucatan. I heard it's nice.
Yeah.
But you're not necessarily looking to rent a place or to start working or something like, or even purchasing a house.
Yeah.
And if that's not your intention, you can come here to Mexico as a tourist.
Yeah.
Nothing else you need to get issued with your passport if you're from Canada, the US, or from a country that doesn't require a tourist visa pasted in your passport. You can come and stay here, enjoy your time in Mexico, and be just fine. If your intention is to stay more than 6 months, if you would like to rent a place, if you would like to even purchase a property and relocate in Mexico, that will be the moment I will tell you becoming a resident is the best choice. It's the best choice because by doing this, you're ensuring yourself the time in Mexico, the security that everything is going to be just fine, and it also gives you some benefits. For example, in regards taxing, a question that sometimes is asked. As a tourist, you do not have to pay taxes. In some cases, I'm aware that you can purchase a property as a tourist
Definitely.
and you do the payment of the taxes involved in that operation.
Yeah.
Only in that moment you pay the taxes. As a resident, if you are not working in Mexico, if you're not receiving an income in Mexico, you don't have to pay taxes. If you want to work, if you start receiving income at your Mexican bank account, there will come a moment where you will start to pay taxes.
Right.
Only in that scenario. As a resident, that's something also to be aware of. And I know that in real estate, especially when selling, you can save some payment in taxes.
100%.
That's very important. As a tourist, if you sell the house that you have here in Merida, you have to pay the X amount of taxes. As a resident, this changes and you do save some money that if you can, please and thank you.
Yeah.
See, those are the main differences between one or the other. And depending on your intentions in Mexico, you can consider stay relaxed by just being here as a tourist. But if you want to have a more impactful stay in Mexico, look after the residency.
Yeah. Thanks so much. That's a very important question. That's actually a question that we often get in our real estate consultations. And I'm really glad that you share that with everyone because now we can share that
with you.
Yes.
Sí, totalmente. Yes. And here is where, once again, every question is valid. Every question is valid. The reason of us doing all of this chat and all of this is to prepare you that is watching us what you can expect when you're moving here, when buying real estate or selling the real estate that you have. You know, the best thing is to be aware of what to expect.
Yeah.
That gives you also the security and prevents you to be nervousness because when you don't know what is going to happen, your mind just allow themselves to imagine everything for better or for worse. So no, when you get to have a consultation for real estate or for the immigration journey, we help you to have the visual of what to expect. So this is what is going to happen. And outside of this, don't worry. Please.
I love that. That's a good way of explaining it. Yeah.
Claro.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So next question is, if someone arrived to Mexico, can they apply for residency from here?
That happens a lot. It's a very common thing. It's a very common thing. And that's the reason why. Please check before coming. The reason why is there are some options to apply for the residency. In Mexico, you at this moment can only apply to the residency through family union. What do I mean by that? If you are married to a Mexican citizen or a Mexican resident, you can apply for the residency. In this scenario, temporal residency, eventually permanent. If you have a Mexican-born child, in that scenario, you can apply for the permanent residency just as Megan did. And if you have a child of your own that is a resident, depending on the residency, you can apply to it. If I am a permanent resident and I want to bring my mother with me, she obtains and make the permanent residency just as I have. If I myself have the temporal residency, she can only apply to what I have.
Got it.
Temporal residency. Another important thing, children, families. Children can only apply through their parents when they are underage with the legal age of Mexico, that being 18 years of age. If your child has 17 years of age, they can apply. You can sponsor them and it's possible. If their birthday is the 27th of July, like myself, and you want to apply the 27th, it's not possible. The close literally has just closed. So be aware of that. And when that happens, they will need to apply by themselves. So you don't have a family union. You're not married to a Mexican citizen or a resident. You don't have child with residency or Mexicans. The ordinary option to apply to the residency is to apply to the Mexican residency visa with proof of economic solvency. This one is started at a Mexican consulate in your country, that being Canada, US, the US, any other beautiful country, just like, for example, Italy. So that's it. That's the other option. Additionally to that, another option available within this list is the work permit visa, that at some point one needs to have an interview also at the consulate. This one is a 3-part journey. It started in Mexico, continued there, finished it here. But that's the thing. That's why the best step one can take is have a consultation. Check with a specialist. Yes, it's common for one to improvise, but it's better to have a plan, at least in this scenario.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why it's so important. Again, I mentioned earlier how important it is to talk to someone that actually understands the process, like Hector. I see it all the time when I'm, scrolling through the Facebook groups or the forums where everyone's situation is different. So it's really hard for people to give the best advice to your specific situation. And so that's why when people talk to you, they can explain their situation and get the consolidated guidance that they need for their situation and follow the steps with less headache than just going through it by themselves, trying to figure it out without a specialist, and then ending up with lots of headaches and not end up getting the process correct. Yeah.
Totalmente. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. So moving on. So how long does the process take to become a resident?
Muy bien. It can take some time. But once again, it does depend on your application.
Of course.
Number one, and it does depend on the office you're applying to. For example, let's say you're applying to the residency visa. From the start, setting an appointment at a consulate can be very challenging because every consulate works differently with that part. Here, my recommendation, and something that I always do, is to reach out to that specific consulate. Some have availability for the next month. Some have availability for within 5 months ahead. So that's why I cannot tell you with certainty how long it takes.
Of course.
It depends on your specific scenario. That's only talking outside. In Merida, again, every immigration office works differently. And just as life, the immigration offices change just every often. With Megan, we had a situation where we were just ready. We had the ABC. We arrived literally to the appointment. And the day prior, they changed things.
Yeah.
And let's say that our element C, they say, it was actually useful yesterday, but now you need to issue a different thing. And that delayed the entire process once again.
Yeah.
If you want me to put it into a specific time frame, an easy application like the canje or the renewal can take from 1 day up to 10 days a week. If you're doing a change of condition, meaning I came here as a tourist, and now I am applying to the residency because my spouse is Mexican or resident, or I just had my children. Family union. Those scenarios can take from 3 weeks and up to a month and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why also timing is something you want to have in consideration. Things in many cases cannot be rushed. We can only work with the immigration office's time, and one needs to adapt. Yeah. If you are intending to do a long process like the change of condition, come to Mexico when you have time, please. Please. Because it will make things more digestible for yourself, especially.
Yeah.
You knowing that things can take time allows you to prepare.
Yeah.
From your work, life, family, because you will have the idea of, oh, I have to stay here for a season. And with the canje as well, come with some time. It's better to have more than less.
Yeah.
Because that's also a very common thing.
Yeah.
People, I know that in their origin country, people still have to work sometimes,
yeah.
you know, and you have a very
tight
short
schedule.
Exactamente.
Yeah.
So when that happens, we can prepare as much as we can, but we cannot do, in many cases, a one-day visit, it's a wish. Sometimes it comes through, but sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So better be prepared.
Yeah.
Take some time and just let things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
See.
No, that's a great answer. Even it's really important to have, and I keep saying this, but I want to stress the importance of having a really good specialist like Hector in your corner that can help you. Because when we went through that hiccup at the INM office, when things changed and we didn't know, Hector was able to help me through the process. He has connections at the INM office. He's able to communicate on his client's behalf. And that made a really big difference, because as much as we hit that hiccup, we were able to figure it out within a day or so and continue on in the process. Yeah. And so that's really important. So yeah, that's great. So speaking of the INM office, I think this next question is a very hot topic at the moment. How does someone set an appointment up at the INM office these days?
Once again, the INM offices likes to change every now and then. Nowadays, they have this, it's an amazing website to set an appointment. The thing here is that the currency of people trying to look for an appointment, it's crazy.
Yes.
If you have tried, you have to log online to this website, and it's appointment hunting. Literally, it's an appointment hunting. You have to stay up at 0001 a.m. and click on setting an appointment, see the green light there, and fight for your life to set an appointment. You know, it takes 2 to 3 minutes for the appointments to be finished.
Wow.
And it's crazy. So in this scenario, for many applications, they need to set the appointment online. Okay. There is no other way around.
No other way, okay.
Even if you have tried 15 times, you know, and it's true, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen people going to the INM, and that's where I was heading. If you go to the INM and say, hey, I was not able, they are just going to say, sorry. Sorry, you have to do it this way. You know, people, they are doing these visits once again to say, please, please, please. And it's, no, maybe. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not possible.
Yeah.
And here is let me help you. Let me help you. I have trained myself for this hunting season. So yes, that's one way to set in an appointment.
Okay.
And at the immigration offices, that's how things are done at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Some different applications, especially for the regularizations, when one has an expired document and want to regularize their status and apply to the residency. Those are the only ones that are usually set directly at the offices.
Okay.
If you're not one of those, then you have the lucky to be invited into these Hunger Games. That's how they feel like. So that's the way to set an appointment in 2025 for the INM.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one, because I know that's a very, very hot topic right now.
It is.
Yeah. And for everyone that's watching, something that's great working with Hector is that even throughout my own process, I didn't have to deal with that. Hector was there for me throughout, and I didn't have to set up my own appointments. He was able to do that on my behalf as his client, and it made up a world of a difference. As you can see, it's not as easy as you would hope. And so it allowed me to remove that stress, and he was able to help me with all the appointments that I needed at the INM office.
See, and adding to this subject, an additional important thing is that appointments are set with time of anticipation.
Right.
If I were to log in today, the next appointment available is for within 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Here is why, again, making a plan is the best thing. For people that, for example, applies for the residency in the States or are coming for a season, reaching out with time of anticipation allows you and myself to plan ahead. If you tell me, Hector, I'm going to be here the week of July 7th, and I leave by this time. We check if everything is possible, if it's an easy process. I prepare myself, and I look for an appointment once they are available. But if you come today and want an appointment for tomorrow, it's literally not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible.
There is not much that one can do.
For sure.
Yeah. That's why, again, preparing with time, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Yeah, these are so important. I know that most of these questions, again, when we were figuring out what types of questions we wanted to ask, I reviewed all of them and I was like, these are so important, because even for me, I thought about all of these when I was through the process. So I think it's important for everyone that's listening to learn all about this.
Yes. See, and remember, at every moment of the process, a new question may arrive.
Yes.
And that's why we're here to help.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. So moving on to once you get your residency. Once someone receives their residency card, what are some things they need to be aware of?
Here, the 3 essentials. Very, very important. Once one becomes a resident, that's your Mexican ID. Mexican ID, not necessarily, it's a residency card. But if you're traveling in Mexico, you can use that as your way of identifying yourself, not necessarily your passport. With the residency card, will do. Let's say that you have just left to Canada and you want to come back as a resident. Now you have the opportunity to get in line as a Mexican citizen. Depending also on the officer at the moment, they may ask you to move to the other line, but you're supposed to be able to get in line as a Mexican citizen.
Yeah.
You're standing before the officer at immigration, and they usually ask you for your passport. As a resident, the first thing that you want to do is to please show the residency card. Show your residency card first and then your passport, because it's very important for the immigration officer to know that you're a resident. And they will only know that when you say it and show your residency card.
Right.
Otherwise, they don't check in the system. They assume that you are a tourist. That's the first and very common mistake that people do, because they don't know.
Right.
The immigration officers usually do not tell you this information.
Right.
And what happens? If you're a resident coming to the country, you don't show the residency card, just the passport. In the system, you're signed in as a resident. When this happens and only the passport is shown, they sign you in as a tourist. And this previous condition gets lost. And now for the immigration purposes, you're again a tourist.
Wow.
And the residency cannot be just taken back. You would need to apply all over again. It's a simple thing that happens, but it has a lot of impact.
Of course.
Just as I'm mentioning. So this will be the first recommendation that I will give to a resident. Attached to this one, same topic. When you leave the country, you're invited to look after the immigration booth and ask to be stamped or sign out. To have a stamp that you're leaving Mexico, again, showing the residency card and then the passport. I say invite and not necessarily a must do, because sometimes some airports do not have open the booth, or they just tell you, you don't need that, and they don't do it. If you don't get the exit stamp, it do not have a big implication. It doesn't have any trouble for you later on. It's okay. It's okay, so don't worry about it. The most important thing is on your way in. You will always need to go through the immigration station, and you must show the residency card. That's the first. Then, the renewal. Again, aligned to this subject. Remember that in Mexico, The date is written day, month, year. In a country like the US, I don't remember.
And Canada.
Canada too.
Yeah.
You do it otherwise.
Yes. It confuses me all the time. So
you put month, day, year. Have that very in consideration, because for the renewal of your residency card, you must do it before it expires. You can start the process within 30 days before the expiration date, and you do everything in Mexico. And I do the emphasis on before the expiration date, because if you go a day after or start looking for an appointment a day after, residency lost. As easy as that. That's why it's very important to have in mind the date of the expiration and also schedule it. Yeah. Put it on your agenda.
Yeah.
Please put it in your agenda with 30 days prior, because it's very important.
Yeah.
And lastly, the reposition of the residency card. Another delicate subject. Of course, it's not something that you don't want to happen to you. But if it does, be prepared. If it happens in Mexico, everything can be solved and finished here in Mexico. It's a process done at the immigration offices easily. If your card is lost, not in Mexico, for example, Canada or the US, or a different country, of course, I invite you to go to the nearest consulate of Mexico. There, they are going to stamp you a Mexican visa for the reposition of your residency card. And with that, you will be able to come into the country, submit the application for the reposition, and have your residency card again. Some people, in many cases, don't do this. Don't go to the consulate and that. Come to Mexico, go by immigration at the airport, and there, although you can explain sorry, this happened, but I'm a resident, it relies on the officer criteria, if they can help you some way. Usually what happens is that they don't sign you in correctly, and that allows you to do everything else later, but it doesn't assure you that things will go the best way. So better to go to the consulate, come in, and continue with the journey. Those are the three essentials. Show your residency card when coming in. Check the date of expiration of your card if you need to renew. And if you lose your residency card, know if you're not in Mexico, go to the consulate. And if you're in Mexico, do the specific process for the reposition.
Yeah.
Those are the three most important things that as a resident, you must have in consideration.
Amazing. Thanks for clarifying that. I remember when I got my residency, those are the three things that you told me right after I got it. And so it's really important for you to share that, because as we've talked about, there's not a lot of information online with this guidance like Hector just shared. So thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So moving on to the last question. Do temporary or permanent residents need to stay a certain period of time in Mexico each year in order to keep their residency?
No, at this moment, no, it's not stated. It's not stated. You don't need to stay for a certain period of time. For the residency process and the residency part, to keep your residency, you don't need to stay a certain period of time.
Okay.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. Something that I can tell you is that in some offices, they can say, you have not been in Mexico that many, or you literally just came. You didn't stay for some time. They can grant you the residency renewal, for example. But instead of allowing you to renew for 3 years, they may tell you, this time is only for 1 year.
Okay.
They don't deny the residency, they just shorten the time period.
Got it.
In some cases.
Right.
This that I just mentioned, it's an extraordinary thing. It could happen to you. It's not something that happens to everyone. It really is a random situation, but I don't leave it off the picture. But other than that, in regards to residency, you are not required to be here for a certain period of time. You only want to worry about that when you want to apply for the Mexican citizenship with the naturalization process, which is a different subject. But only in that scenario, you want to worry about that.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your expertise. I know that this will help so many people, and I appreciate you for watching. Before we finish off, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Yes. As we have mentioned throughout this fantabulous journey that I've had a fantabulous time here with you. It's been a joy. And I invite you that are watching us, either it being real estate doubts or for the immigration journey, book a consultation. Book a consultation. Let's get to know each other. Let's see what is your current scenario. What is your specific goal? What do you need to have in consideration for the next journey that you're going to venture? With this, I'm pretty sure that we can facilitate all of your doubts and help you to have an stress-free as possible experience.
We'll link Hector's contact information in the description below, as well as if you're relocating, investing, or looking to move here with your family into Merida, please contact us using the description in the comments.